I'm Dave Anderson. Are you ready to dive into some economics? This video reviews the monopoly market structure that exists when one firm serves an entire market. This is possible due to barriers to entry such as control of scarce resources, economies of scale, technological superiority, or government-created barriers such as patents or copyrights. The basic monopoly graph looks like this. The vertical axis indicates the price and various types of cost and revenue in dollars per unit of output. The horizontal axis indicates the quantity. Notice that unlike an individual firm in a perfectly competitive market, a monopolist faces a downward-sloping demand curve. That's because the monopolist faces the entire market demand curve, which is downward-sloping. We determine the profit-maximizing quantity for the monopolist by locating the point where the marginal cost curve intersects the marginal revenue curve, and then looking down below that point to the quantity axis to find the profit-maximizing quantity. We then look up to the demand curve and left from there to find the profit-maximizing price. The marginal revenue curve for the monopolist is also downward-sloping, and it is below the demand curve except for the first unit. That's because in order to sell more units, the monopolist must lower its price on all units. Suppose a monopolist lowers its price from $10 to $9 per unit in order to sell a sixth unit. $9 is received for the sixth unit, but $5 is lost on the other 5 units that could have been sold for an additional $1 if only 5 units were sold. So the additional or marginal revenue from the sixth unit is the $9 gain minus the $5 loss, which is $4. Another way to find the marginal revenue is to subtract the old total revenue from the new total revenue. The new total revenue of $54 minus the old total revenue of $50 equals the marginal revenue of $4. The $4 marginal revenue is less than the $9 price, and likewise the marginal revenue is less than the price for every unit except the first, so the marginal revenue lies below the demand curve like this. To find the monopolist's profit, we add the average total cost curve to the graph. The profit per unit is the difference between the price and the average total cost for the quantity sold. The total profit is represented by a rectangle with the height of the profit per unit and the width of the quantity sold. Now let's discuss the deadweight loss that a monopoly creates in the absence of externalities. The height of the demand curve represents the value of the marginal benefit society receives from each unit. The optimal quantity for society, QS, is found where the demand curve crosses the marginal cost curve. Every unit up to that point provides a benefit that is more valuable than the marginal cost of making that unit. By restricting the quantity to QM, the monopolist prevents the net gains that could be received from the units between QM and QS, for which the marginal benefit exceeds the marginal cost. The loss of those net gains is what we call deadweight loss. One last note about monopolies is that a monopoly has no supply curve. A supply curve shows the relationship between the price and the quantity supplied. With this graph, we can show that for a monopoly, the relationship between price and quantity can't be specified by a single curve. Demand 1 and marginal revenue 1 are the original demand and marginal revenue curves. P1 and QM are the profit-maximizing price and quantity. But notice what happens if we draw a new demand and marginal revenue curve with marginal revenue 2 intersecting the marginal cost curve at the same quantity as marginal revenue 1. Facing demand 2 and marginal revenue 2, the monopolist would maximize profit by selling the same quantity, QM, at the price of P2 rather than P1. Since the profit-maximizing price depends on the demand and marginal revenue curves, we can't pinpoint a particular supply curve for the monopolist. Thanks for taking this dive into economics. I hope you learned something.